China is on a track of recovery, but this recovery could be very fragile. Senior economist from Roubini Global Economics. China's economy grew by 6.9% in 2015, which is the slowest growth rate in a quarter of a century. So, Daili, to what extent should investors be concerned?
In my sense, the growth data released this morning delivered a mixed message of the growth recovery. I think that the investors shouldn't overreact to the slower growth, because on the positive side, we find the retail sales and wage growth is still resilient. On the other hand, of course, we need to note there's an increasing risk of downside scenarios. We know that there's a deceleration in real estate investment and also manufacturing investment. And also the import growth rebound is likely trade-covered capital outflows. So put together, my sense is that we should stay cautious of China's growth in the future. It is likely it is on the track of recovery, but this recovery could be very fragile.
Okay, though, as well as the growth rate data that was released earlier this morning, China's industrial production rose by 5.9% from a year earlier, which was close to forecasts. How would you describe the state of the economy currently as we move closer to the Chinese New Year?
My near-term sense is that the Chinese economy will stabilize. As you said, there's a coming Chinese New Year, so all the factories and firms, they will stop producing. But after Chinese New Year, I foresee there's a gradual, modest slowdown throughout 2016, mainly because of some supply-side constraints, like the excess capacity, and also there's a rapid growth of credit, which give rise to many inefficient investments. And I also believe that these the two-speed economy, which is the slower growth of industrial production and the faster growth of services sector, will persist for quite a long time. Indeed, this is actually the rebalancing process that Chinese policymakers are pursuing. So I'm not particularly worried about this two-speed economy.
You mentioned that investors should stay cautious earlier. So has a lot of this panic surrounding China's economy been overblown, or are there reasons to be fearful over how the country is performing?
In my mind, I think there are two major risks to watch for this year. One is a deflation and the debt problem. So we know that the PPI of China has been negative for more than 40 months. And we also noted that the Chinese policymakers, they are trying to cut the excess capacity this year, which is likely to imply there's a firm default and shutdown. So that could give rise to a debt problem. Another risk is some policy mistakes, as we saw last year over the summer. There's a stock market turmoil, and also there's FX rate volatility. So we should watch for these two risks, but in my mind, the baseline is still a fragile recovery rather than more turbulence in the future.
Thank you, Daili. That's all for today, though be sure to check back with Dukascopy for more updates throughout the week. See you then.